Hey, Stephanie, how's it going?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you.
So tell us about you. Where do you work? What do you do?
I'm Stephanie Price. I'm the marketing and communication director for the Panhandle Plains Historical Museum in Canyon, Texas, which is right outside of Amarillo, for those who aren't familiar with the Panhandle. And we are the largest history museum in the state of Texas.
That's so fun. So, what is your role there and how does it interface with the advertising industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the marketing and advertising arm of the museum. We are a university museum, so we're interesting. It's a public-private partnership. So while the university has its own communications, I do all of them for the museum. And so we do work together on projects, but I'm not under their marketing and communication department. I report to the director of outreach, who then reports to our director, who reports to the president of the university. So, what my role consists of is I have two part-time assistants that work for me. Both are students. One's a graduate student and one's an undergrad. And then our department works on everything from the website to our social media strategies, postings, and executions. Any advertising we place everything from traditional advertising, such as television or radio, to YouTube, to digital, to special event, and all of in between, some magazine, all sorts of stuff. So I'm in charge of all of that. And then also I am the marketing person for memberships, and I'm kind of take memberships from marketing them all the way through to kind of sending out their renewals and everything like that. So marketing retention as well. And then I do group sales, just adults though. I don't have anything to do with those that are seniors or below. So just adult tours, no kiddos. That's a separate department. So got a lot on my plate, but it's fun.
Sounds like it. So, walk us through, for those who haven't had experience with nonprofit marketing, how is it different than a for profit business model?
Well, I think that it allows for a little more creativity, but it also requires a lot more self-discipline and creativity. So I have a very small budget compared to anyone else, and yet I'm competing for everyone else's attention. So I have never considered other museums in my market or even in the state of Texas our competition. I consider our competition is the entertainment dollar, especially now as we're going through the COVID crisis. Everyone is tightening belts, and the museum's currently closed, but we will reopen someday. It's going to happen, which is what I'm living for right now. But we're competing for that entertainment dollar. So people have a certain amount of their income that they relegate towards entertainment, be that movies, be that theme parks, be that just going to the mall and getting a Coke, or whatever. And so we have to compete for that entertainment dollar that they're willing to, share with the world. So not only do I have to do that, I have to, be smart about how I go after marketing and things like that with nonprofit. You don't necessarily want to be super salesy when you're in nonprofit too. So
Yeah,
it's definitely different.
and you're one of the only people I have met that has a similar background between museums and nonprofit marketing. And it's such a niche place and field in its own regard and works really differently, I would say, than the rest of the advertising industry, that it's so fun to have a connection and something in common with a person such as yourself.
Oh, well, thank you. It's totally different, because one minute I'm wearing that membership hat where I'm trying to talk to a member and I'm planning a group tour for our highest members to Arkansas, which is where we went last year. To the next minute, I'm writing copy for a banner ad going on our website. So, I mean, it's totally, you've got to be a jack of all trades in this business, but also a master of all of them as well to know how to maximize your budget. And you have to be really careful how you spend every dollar. And so that's nonprofit life. You live on a shoestring budget, you die on a shoestring budget, and you've got to be willing to, yeah, you can take some risks, but the beauty of other brands with bigger budgets is they get to take bigger risks, and I just can't necessarily afford to do that all the time. I've got to do the things that work for me, so I've got to keep up on industry trends and what's going on, and letting all of kind of the bigger brands and the bigger budgets do that research for me.
Yes, which is smart and critical for navigating a nonprofit budget for sure. So that's exciting. So let's back up a minute. Why advertising? Why did you get into this space?
It's so funny. I started as a theater major. So I am, I love public speaking. I had speech, debate, theater all through high school. And my dad said, well, what are you going to do with that when you graduate with a theater degree? And not knocking theater degrees. There are people who've gone to be incredibly successful with them. I just didn't want to teach, and I didn't necessarily want to move out of Texas. And so I started kind of looking around the College of Fine Arts that I went to West Texas A&M University. So I looked around, and I actually, a couple of girls I was in my sorority with talked to me about their advertising major and broadcasting. And so I went and kind of checked out a class and fell absolutely in love with it. I love how you can connect to people. You're a public speaker. It's got a psychology in it. And I really am fascinated by psychology and kind of the way people do things and why they do things. I've always been really interested in that. And so I really found a place for advertising that could use all my public speaking skills and the things I love and allow me to be really creative. And I knew that I couldn't ever be somebody that was just crunching numbers all day, or I had to be free to be able to be really creative. So I thought advertising fit all of that.
And it seems that you're still using some of your performative training, because I see you are regularly on the news and out as a publicist almost in that capacity for your role at the museum.
Yeah, absolutely. As a nonprofit person, you're first and foremost the PR person. Like, there is no outside PR firm and nonprofit. It is you. And so you've got to be, you've got to understand your mission statement, and you've got to live your mission statement. And, I am a lot of the time a face of the institution. And so the things I do in and out of, the public eye are very much noticed. So you have to, be sure that you're on, when they need you to be, but also that you're, really representing your institution to the best of your ability. That is something in nonprofit, is that, you are kind of always on.
So backing up a minute, do you have any advice for students who are about to enter the industry? And secondary question, is there anything compelling feature you could sell students on as to why they should consider working for marketing and advertising in a nonprofit space?
I'll tell you, so I'll answer the first one about the nonprofit space. I love nonprofit because I wanted to wake up every morning and know that I was making a difference. And so that's what really drives me, is I get my energy from people, and I get my energy helping people. And so I felt like, working at the museum, people come to us with their precious heirlooms that their great grandmother had, or that they had, or that was very special to their family. And I'm instrumental in preserving and sharing those stories. And what other wonderful capital do we have as humans than our story? And so I knew that that was a place that I could make a difference in something that mattered to me. And like you said, to where I could use my skills to, further what I was doing. I worked for a retail chain in marketing and promotions. And it wasn't, while I learned a ton of lessons and great stuff working in corporate, it wasn't where I found my passion. And I really found, passion here, and an ability to, have a little bit of freedom. I also get to do a lot of different things. Never do I have a day that's the same. Some days I'm, cleaning up red wine off the floor at a special event, all the way to I am my own copywriter and editor. And if I find something cool that I want to do, I have a wonderful boss that's like, yeah, let's give it a try. I think it'll work if I can prove that it's going to be right for our budget. So I get to create my own budget. I create my own, travel and make those requests. So I do have a lot of cool perks, as well as then I get a hands in our public programming and all of that. So when you work for a nonprofit, you've got to be willing to wear a lot of hats, but it's also fun to do that because I'm never bored. Never. Promise.
And that's a great segue, because we met through the AAF, and you travel quite a bit now, coming up as first lieutenant governor. So that's fantastic. You have a boss and a support system that provides the tools and resources and flexibilities to engage with the industry in a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I had a great director. He's actually down in your neck of the woods. He's now at the Amon Carter. And when I started, he said, we want you out in the community. This is your job. So pick an organization. He said, your predecessor did this one. And it was funny because it was AAF. And I was like, well, I knew AAF from college. I was in the National Student Advertising Competition. which, by the way, if I can tell you anything to do in your college career, it is that. It definitely prepared me for, being a jack of all trades, because it teaches you every facet of the industry, from being a researcher to execution to public speaking. I cannot say enough good things about NSAC or the Bateman team. I know that's PR. And so, do something, do one of those teams. Don't just go to class. If there's any advice I can give you about advertising, it's about people. And the people that you're sitting with in class or virtually right now are the people who are going to hire you, be your coworkers, who are going to have those cool jobs one day that you want to get involved with. So be a good team player, be a good group member, be someone that everyone knows that can be relied on, and for fun and creativity and all of that, but also that gets the job done. So that's a big piece of advice I have with this major, is there is no single work. I have a team, but you'll always have bosses. So, be able to rely on other people and be reliable. And then, with AAF, it was just awesome, is that I think it's a great place because I get a lot of wonderful education. We mentioned nonprofit and shoestring budget. Well, I can't go to big conferences like Google Max or Adobe or other things like that I would love to go to. I get the training here locally because we bring in speakers of such high caliber, and I'm able to learn from them and apply it to my daily life. So if I can recommend, anything like that, again, I'm a department of 1.5, really. I have 2 students that work for me, and sometimes just 1. And so if I want to bounce off ideas or whatever, I throw it back to my AAF people and get solid feedback. So just a great way to form a network and to really, connect with people. And I encourage you to do that now at SMU, make connections with these people, because they are who you're going to work with one day, I promise, or want to work with or for. So, that's my biggest thing, is if, in any industry, wherever you deem to end up, it's about being reliable. It's about being a team player. It's study and learn all of the aspects. But if you can't work with people, then you're not going to succeed in this industry. That's exactly what it's about. And you can be the best copywriter, but if you're a garbage person and have a terrible attitude, no one's going to hire you. So that's absolutely my advice, is to be the person everyone can rely on and get along with. I'm not saying, compromise your morals or, do poor work because it makes everybody feel good. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying to be, the person everyone can rely on and be a peacemaker and find creative solutions. So that's my biggest advice. And enjoy college. Have fun. Enjoy it, because I'm telling you, one day you'll want to go back. So.
Well, I loved it so much I stayed. So
Yeah, there you go.
just find a job like this.
I work for a university museum, so I get to go back a little bit and be involved. So it's nice, but it's still never quite the same.
No, but you have to be responsible in different ways, but it's still super fun, and working with students on a day-to-day basis is awesome on so many levels. And it's a privilege, seriously. So that's cool. But thank you so much for sharing your time with us and talking. And I'm excited Absolutely. I'm excited for our students to connect with you, and I'll share your LinkedIn and we'll go from there.
Yeah, please do. And if anybody's ever up in my area, feel free to stop by the museum, say hi, let me show you around. Would love to do that, and love you to meet our AAF crew up in Amarillo. So anytime.
Absolutely.